Hello again, Ian Stokey with Mastermind Games, back with Malifaux, and this time the Arcanist Master Kaeris. I believe her box set was called, and I forgot already. No, get it researched. Fairskin 09047. So, Anacelia Kaeris, or NLS, I already forgot it and I just looked it up. This is how my day is starting. But Kaeris is her surname, and she was a mercenary Earthside, priding herself on her neutrality. But upon coming to Malifaux at the invitation of Victor Ramos of the Arcanists, saw that the neutrality did not exist, that the guild was in solid control, and so she signed up with Ramos becoming her teacher. See, yeah, I think she's wearing gloves, but her forearms are bare. Her specialty is fire, and when Ramos left to do his special project of finding a soulstone geode, she was put in charge of the Arcanists' more military operations, and has started to act more and more like a terrorist. Yeah, I'm going to use that word. I'm going to say that word because it applies to her actions. Alright. I think I can go ahead and try getting her a little on her forehead, and then I think we can get her hair. Antique Gold 09050. Now her wings were a trophy. When she was a child, and this is according to a vignette on her in the second edition, she was basically being... I just realized I grabbed the wrong color, but I can work with that. She was an orphan, basically being used by the guild as a test subject. The intent was to see if a soul from a hopeful individual with a future ahead of them, when placed in a soulstone, would be more potent. She was, quote, adopted solely for that purpose, and unfortunately for her caretaker, she found out what the plan was and turned one of this individual's soulstone recharging sessions against her, killing her and taking her these clockwork wings she possessed for herself. Though I believe in the original version of the fiction in first edition, the wings were a gift from Ramos, but I'm not... It's been a while since I've read the first edition fiction, so... But it does say in our second edition entry that Ramos made a soulstone-fueled harness for her to help her control her abilities, but her abilities are better left uncontrolled. She is a wrecking ball as opposed to a surgical instrument of surgical precision. And I think originally she was actually a henchman. It's since been upgraded, but I'd have to double check. The henchmen in first edition worked a lot differently from the way they do now. Okay, now let's see if I can get the right color this time. Blonde hair, 09257. And I might do a second coat on the wings once that dries to get them a little shinier. But that'll do for now. Any second coats on that will be off camera. She is wearing goggles, and I'm probably covering them up right now with the blonde, but I'll get it picked out later. And unlike some models, she has been consistently depicted as blonde. Alright. Let that dry, then move on. Alright, next. Dark Elf Skin 09164. So I think I'll redo the wings a little bit, put a little steel in there, but I will keep the feathered tines gold. She does have some armor on her pants, so I'll pick that out later. I'm not too concerned with covering it up, at least not at this point. Eep. That should do. And I need to let that dry before moving on. Okay. Next, I'm gonna do Fire Red 09004 and get the coat, I think. Being careful where it goes up against her legs. I want to get the coat, not the pants in this color. Got a little too much water in here. I may have to do another coat later. Try to keep her in camera. Okay, so it's Anacelia Kaeris. It's Burning Revelations is the name of the box set. So I finally got that right this time. Being careful with the skin tones. I get the edge of the edge here. And I realize I'm still... Oh, no, I am in camera. Okay. Never mind, I thought I wasn't. And I just nicked her hair. Oh, that should come out reasonably well when I do the shading. Okay, that almost. More on that sleeve, and that should do. I'm gonna try and get the leather in, so oiled leather 09110. Punched on the camera again. Now for this scabbard. arm feels sticky. I think that's something on it. I'm working on some mold making. Maybe it's some silicone rubber. Okay, I nicked up the hands there. I'll just try to dilute with the brush real quick. Get our gloves. Okay, so it looks like your gloves go about halfway up the forearm. And our goggles. I'll pick the lenses out later. And the boots. Okay. 2 more base coats and I'm done. Alright, last 2 base coats. Yeah. Tarnished Steel 09206. So, this portion of our pants seems to be a, oh, that got a little too much water. It seems to be a metal armor here. As well as our corset. Which, if this is connected to the wings, makes a lot of sense, because if you've got some kind of flying mechanism strapped to your back, having it anchored to your torso somehow would be the better deal, I would think. Knee pads. And then I'm going to go ahead and redo the back here. And get this section here in the steel. Just kind of the leading edge here. I'm not going to do the lenses of the goggles at this point. That's going to be done as a detail later along with the eyes. Okay. Alright. Now, uniform gray. This is an army painter color. And just get the base. Being careful not to hit the feet. Starting to get the hang of this paint finally, but there's still a little bit of learning to do. Okay. And that's base coats. Once this dries, I can start shading. Alright, time to shade. Ruddy Leather 09109. Oh boy, caps rolling away. And basically you want to go from the lowest area, generally the skin, to the highest. Shading, you're going to go high to low, highlight low to high. Thinning out the paint with 1 part water to 1 part paint to make it a wash. And just let it run into the recessed areas. Your base coat's going to be basically the color you want it. Your shade will be a darker version, or value of the color. And then your highlight will be a lighter version. And Blackened Steel 09205. Here's the part where this gets tricky because I want this on the steel frame supporting the wing, but not the feather-like areas, which in this case would look more like razor blades than natural feathers, but then again, machine. Shading also tends to go more quickly than the base coating does. Alright, let that dry, move on in a bit. Next shade, Blood Red 09003. Being careful around her skin, I don't want to nick that, it'll adversely affect the underlying shade. Don't want to get her hair either if I can avoid it. Trying not to get her pants on this, or rather, get this on her pants. Okay, that's not bad. Let that dry and move on in a bit. Okay, next up, Blonde Shadow 09256. So comparing how this video is going to the ones for Baby Kate and Candy, I think the size of the model does have something to do with the focus issues. Seems to like these larger models better. And trying to avoid her goggles and her skin. And she has been consistently portrayed as blonde, so there's that in her favor. least in terms of consistency. Dark Elf Shadow 09163. Again, paint them however you feel like. That's all I can say about it. Let that flow wherever it wants to. So I think the knee pads here are sewn directly into her pants, which makes perfect sense if it's intended to be its armor from the get-go. And Ancient Bronze 09049. It's a bit on the sword there. Now the big one is the wings. I really should be working from the top down, trying to avoid the steel. Letting the paint flow down, basically trying to work with gravity here. Note I'm trying to use the side in addition to the tip. So bear in mind you have an entire brush to work with, not just one specific piece of it. Okay. Once that dries, that's just going to leave the skin and the base, then I can start highlight and detail. Well, things are not completely dry, but they're dry enough to work with. So, Fair Shadow 09046. Not doing any fancy shading tricks on this one. Pretty much just straight triads for the most part. Special attention to her face. A little bit of the steel got into her chest, that's okay. Alright, forearms. I know my hands was partially in the way of that last dip. Okay. And 09088 Stormy Gray. Looks like a little bit of the flesh highlight got onto her pants. I'll just, or a shade, excuse me. I'll just try to blot that out. Should come out when I highlight. Just going along the base here. Let it flow all over. This is that hand sculpted thing I do. Just a layer of sculpting putty with a simple pattern drawn into it while still wet. And once that dries, I can highlight and detail. Alright, highlight and detail time. Matte white, this is another Warpaints color. And a substitute for the pure white I was using in the Reaper line up until now. Carefully filling her eyes. that dries, a little Surf Aqua 09078. Carefully just filling in the lenses on her goggles. Got a bit too much water in it, so I'm going to have to let that dry. Alright, that's fine. So pure black 09037. Just a tiny dot of this. I'm using about the same amount of water as I'm using a base coater. That's the goal, which is just enough to thin the paint. Carefully filling in pupils. It's a little odd, but alright, that's okay. So I'm gonna have to let that dry for a bit because of that teal. So back in a bit. Alright, everything's dry and ready for me to finish up. Fair highlight 09048. Well, got the camera pin there. Make sure everything's in focus real quick. And it isn't. Stabilized? We cool here? No. Okay. Alright, now we're cool. Oh boy. Joys of technical difficulty strike again. Fair highlight 09048. So this is using a dry brushing technique. So no water, paint only. And ragged feathered brush like this one. Rubbing most of the paint out on a paper towel, then lightly dusting the area to be affected. Using a little excess paint right there where the armor got onto the skin. And with this, I'm focusing on the most readily visible areas, and there goes the brush I was using. Gotta let winter tools run away. Alright. Next up, let's go with Dark Elf Highlight 09165. Not dropping any more frames, at least not since I managed to punch out my camera somehow. Pulling the paper towel out of frame because the camera will focus on that instead of the model. The leather next, I think. I want completely dry brushes, so I'm switching freely. So burnt orange 09111. Yeah, this'll work. And this paint is clogged up, so paper clip down the nozzle. And we're fixed. Alright, thought we were fixed. Let's try that again. Amazing how you can get technical difficulties even with something as simple as a bottle of paint. There we go. Glitches everywhere. So I'm going to use two different brushes. I'm going to use a little one goggles. Maybe I can get away with this on all of it. The scabbard is delicate, so I'm using a real light touch with that. Just gonna get one boot at a time here. Next, the gold, I think, so new gold 09051. Bit on the sword. Bulk of it's going to be going on the wings themselves. Going against the edges on the feathered looking tines to burnish give a nice shiny appearance. That's pretty good. Oh, blonde highlight 09258. So that cluster I dropped of frames I dropped at the beginning, this segment seems to be the only ones I've dropped so far. And this, oh, there we go. The cat was fighting getting back on. Again, you want a completely dry brush, so. Going against the sharp edges, because that helps catch the paint better. It makes it stand out all the more. Oh, True Silver 09207. And getting there. Not too much more. Knee pads, corset. Being careful on the wings not to get anything else. Especially since I've just done the gold. Okay, that leaves the coat and the base. So, Phoenix Red 09005. I'm going to concern myself with the most readily visible surfaces on this. Again, going against the raised edges here. Do a bit on the inside, but not much. And then for the base, Misty Gray 09090. bit much on the paint there. Not bad, but I've done better. Last step, switching from round brushes to a flat head. And taking pure black, 09037. Going to carefully line the edge of the base to cover up these errant marks and just give a nice clean finish, trying to go up to the very edge where that custom sculpting is without touching it. If I was using a flock or sand or talus, which is another word for rock debris, instead of this, I would be doing this before applying those materials. If you want to see how to do that, that's what I do with War Machine and Warhammer 40,000, so most of those videos should have the technique for that, for the flocking in it. And it's just two little connection points putting her on her base, so I have to be very careful and use a very light touch right here. Okay. One last detail I almost forgot to do. Taking a little of that matte white from earlier. Well, that brush isn't going to work. Let's see here. Thin, pointy brush. Don't know why I'm whispering. Alright, so just a touch of matte white. Using a tiny pointy brush. Doing this like a base coat and just carefully putting a shine the lenses over goggles. And that's it. Kaeris from the Arcanists of Malifaux. Continuing with her box set, Burning Revelations, in the next video. Until then, I am Ian Stuckey with Mastermind Games, signing out.